HDB flash estimate right, for Q3 2025 was an increase of only.
Wow, this one really unbelievable. Wow,
Okay.
the dreaded 4 letters down there.
The 4 letter words.
4-letter word, vulgar 4-letter word. Happy New Year and welcome back to the Property Wealth Pod. I'm Joel.
And I'm Alan, and this is our New Year edition. Okay, today we are doing a bit of reflection on the past year, and it's not just the headlines. Today we are actually going to talk about what actually happened on the ground around Singapore's property in 2025.
Yeah, because if you zoom out, we look at a more macro perspective. In 2025, it was one of those years where everything happened all at the same time.
So HDB prices still rising, okay, but slowing down. Okay, then private new launches is hit a 4-year high. Of course, the luxury demands is quietly, okay, coming back. Then EC prices is actually pushing the new boundary prices right now.
And of course, I think there's also this is ABSD lah. It's not new stuff lah, but it is basically shaping buyer behavior more than almost any other factor that we are talking about today lah.
Yeah, so today's big question is, did the cooling measures actually work? Did they really work? Or did they just shift demand from one segment to the other segment?
Yeah, and today we'll be using the insights from the market data that has been gathered and also ERA's 2025 Dream Home Survey, where they basically survey 1,100 people and to see their opinions. And in today's episode, not only will we be breaking it down, we'll actually analyze it.
Okay, so think of this as our investor and upgraders debrief for 2025 and a starting point for 2026.
Okay, so let's start where most of the Singaporeans will start. The HDB resale market.
So HDB resale market, the prices still went up in 2025. That is a fact. Okay, so the rates of it rising is actually moderated. HDB flash estimate right, for Q3 2025 was an increase of only 0.4% over that of one quarter left.
Yeah.
Okay, that means the second quarter 2025. Okay, then, and we look further back, right, we can clearly see that the slowdown, right, compared to 1 year before, there is the Q3 and Q4 2024, okay, is 2.7% and 2.6% respectively. So it's that much slower.
Yeah, so this is very important because over the last few years, right, a lot of Singaporeans always ask, walao, when will the resale finally cool down? The price keep running, don't stop, literally like a bull.
Yeah, and the answer is 2025. It did slow down, but it didn't collapse.
Yeah, so the big reason for this was basically the government intervention, right? And how they intervened was literally they supply dump.
They supply dump. They
just give you
everything give you.
Yeah, supply dump. So they launched 10,200 sale of balance flats across 2 exercises in February and July.
So the key thing was sales of balance flat. Right?
Yeah.
It's not just BTO.
Yeah.
Okay. So BTO has much bigger number. Okay, almost double of it. Though so that sales of balance flat is only it's already 10,000 units.
Yes, correct.
And the most crucial point, right? About 1,700 of them, right, is almost complete already.
Yeah. So this is where it's a real game changer, I find. Because now the buyers with urgent need, right, don't need to go inside resale anymore. Hey, now got 1,700 sale of balance flat ready for me to move in. Why should I pay extreme prices for HDB resale, right?
Yeah, but there's always this challenge. Like it's like a balloting system. Okay?
Yeah.
So it's not that easy to get, but it's still like a lot of people will say that, got so easy to get, man.
Yeah, it's of course it's hard to get but today you buying a flat, not like buy vegetable you still want to try right? So behaviorally, people will still try to attempt, right? So if you are buying, you should attempt, if you can get it 20%, 30% cheaper, try only what, right? That's why most of these people will just literally just hold off the resale.
Yeah. And that will affect the price demand or resale demand, right? Indirectly. In fact, it's quite direct.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a resale unit, right? Normally, like 4 weeks, 5 weeks, usually to have offer coming in. But my one, they went for 2 months plus.
A bit stuck, right? The resale now a bit stuck. So, I mean, this is where the shift also need to do a bit of adjustment, right?
Yeah.
So, today is what we call the transition period. The sellers' expectations are still relatively high. They are still very bullish.
They need to tweak their mindset.
Yeah.
First, the replacement cost also quite high now.
Yeah, so I mean, they have their reasons to be high because they sell already, must buy and the buy went up. So they also need to make money and cash out a certain amount of money to upgrade.
That's why
change.
Today we have a very awkward position. Like it's like there's very few panic sellers. Then the transitional time is very long, and then there's a lot of negotiation instead of the last time we got a bidding war.
Yeah, especially I think the main thing here is actually the transactional timeline, where a lot of the sellers today, right, they want extension of stay, 3 more months. They want. So the thing is, if you're buying, you buy today, right? You get the house. I mean, you buy today, you wait it out. Your normal transaction is about 3 months.
Yeah.
Then you plus another 3 months.
It's 6 months.
I buy resale balance. I buy sale balance. So I mean, this is not a weak market So it's not that the market is weakening. It is basically normalizing the market already today.
So a normalizing HDB market. Okay, now let's jump to the private residential, because there is where people are very confused right now.
Yeah, so I mean, despite all the cooling measures, we have cooling measures since 2011. It's been like how many years already?
Yeah,
14 years.
It's a way of life now.
So, and then also, there's also global uncertainty, right? So, we still saw over 10,000 new private homes sold in the first 11 months of 2025, right? So the thing, okay we upfront a bit we don't have data for December not out yet
Right. Okay. Actually, which tells us is something that's very important. This is not just like the speculative money, where they move a bit whenever the wind blows. This is actual demand.
Yeah, so I mean, today's buyers, they are very, very different from the 2010, 2011, 2012 era already.
Yeah, they calculate, they stress test all the interest rates, and then they think about holding power, like long term, at least the period that they don't have to sell urgently, that kind.
Correct. So I mean, basically it's calculation. They look at the interest rates, and then they are more concerned about holding the property.
Yeah, no longer flipping already.
Yeah, correct. So these three things are the biggest tailwinds of the private market in 2025.
Yeah, and I feel that there's actually 3 factors that affect the demand. One very big thing is job market stability. Singapore employment is very, very strong.
Yeah, that's true. So the other thing is also our inflation has been kept in check because of the strong Singapore dollar as well.
You recently went to overseas, Singapore dollar is really strong.
With the exception of one other country, our neighbor. That one getting stronger.
The one Malaysia is getting stronger.
Yeah.
Okay. And the third thing, the one very important, I feel, interest rate is really coming down.
Yeah, this one is where it matters the most. I think, last time, 1 year, 2 years ago, you buy, your interest rate is 3%.
Over percent, yeah.
Today, now, your loan, 1% only.
Actually, there's not small savings. It's really the monthly affordability really drops. For $1 million loan, right, I did a calculation. 2% difference, right, means 1,600 plus monthly difference.
So wait, so the thing is, normally, if you don't reprice from 3% to now 1%,
you have to pay almost like $1,700 more.
Every month.
Wow,
then times 12.
Yeah, imagine those bigger loans like $2 million loan.
Yeah, so
it's 3,000 plus different.
Well, that's somebody's almost somebody's.
Yeah, that's somebody's income there.
So I mean, this also gave some homeowners a very good opportunity to reprice their loan
Yeah.
and allow them to free up cash, and then they can actually reinvest in real estate.
Yeah, that's where the other demand come in.
Yeah,
When
so-
they free up their cash, instead of going into the interest, they go back into the market.
Yes, correct. So I think this is a small education to our viewers out there. When you free up cash, not for you to go and spend on holiday, it's for you to reinvest and grow your wealth. Okay, so let's talk about the next big thing. It is the launch, all right? The new launches. Because 2025 was no short
Yeah.
of headline-making news for all the new
We
launches.
have a list of it here. Yeah, Park
Yeah.
Town Residence at Tampines, almost 1,200 units, the biggest launch of the year.
Yeah, next was the Sky at Holland, 99% sold. Wow, this one really unbelievable. 99% sold at an average of $2,953 per square feet. That one, I think, shocked not only the agent, shocked the whole market,
Shocked.
everybody.
The market was very...
Yeah.
And then Penrith at Queenstown area. Okay, so 97% sold at the average of $2,800.
Wow, that one also, I also shocked.
That one also shocked.
So, I mean, then we also have some iconic ones, right?
Then you have, of course, you have Oriole at Beach Road. That one is a Golden Mile Conservation redevelopment.
Yeah.
Although the sales numbers is not strong in the beginning, right? Right now, they are actually quietly selling.
Yeah, so I think the other one is also a little bit silent mover, silent opportunity lah. Or it's also the one Marina Gardens, right? So this one is at Marina South.
The first one of
Yeah,
the area.
the first one of Marina South. So 937 units, first residential there.
And something that we hear very often, okay, a lot of buyer is asking, hey, why these kind of prices are sounding like CCR prices?
Yeah, especially the OCR price, right?
Yes.
So I believe a lot of this is because the future transformation of the area, as well as the land replacement cost, is already priced into these developments, especially like Queenstown, Holland, or this type. Where the next one is also upcoming one, Lorong Chuan.
Yeah. I feel that I got a slightly different view about it, because I feel that I think some buyers actually are overpaying emotionally
So I mean, it's a
on
fair.
the high side already.
Yeah lah. It's a fair opinion, I would say. But those who understand long-term urban planning, right? They know they weren't buying location. They were buying location plus what it can and will become. So
Yeah.
our government their power. Right?
Yes.
They say means will do one. So
Of course, if you look at it longer term, it's a very sound purchase.
Yeah lah. Correct.
So honestly, another segment of the market, right, is actually the HDB BTO. Okay, they are actually honestly really just as exciting as private launches.
Yeah,
right?
actually.
A lot of big names.
Yeah, so we dropped some names for private, right? Time to drop names for HDB, right? So almost 20,000 BTOs were released. So this is
Like I say just now,
Yeah.
double the numbers.
so this excludes the sale of balance flats. So places like Sterling Horizon, Queenstown, Berlayer, Bukit Merah, Mount Pleasant, Tanjong Ru, Alexandra Vista, Alexandra Peaks, which is at Red Hill, Bishan and Red Hill Peak, sorry.
Yeah.
These change. These are just a few of them that change certain perspective for a certain group of buyers.
People suddenly realize, okay, hey, actually I can live traditionally in those like private enclave, like in public housing.
Yeah, so this is where some of these buyers, right, actually buy, I want to buy condo because I want to stay in private enclave. Then suddenly, why got BTO? I can buy BTO already.
That's the policy working as intended. Okay, they are mixing the private and the public housing together.
Yeah, so I mean, it anchors the aspirations of public housing, anchors private and public together and stabilize. They're trying to stabilize the whole ecosystem, right? On top of that, on worse, I mean, I wouldn't say worse, but even more interestingly, I would say, HDB not only released these kind of areas.
Yeah, it's not only big names.
Yeah, it's not only big names, This is
Yeah.
this part I say, this field that I name drop is actually in more towards the private enclave.
Yeah.
But actually, HDB launched BTO exercises across almost every single town in Singapore.
So that means that in any point of the location in Singapore, you can actually get something that you want
Yes,
to see.
not only at any location, almost at any different price point.
Ah,
So it caters to a very wide spectrum of buyers. You want to stay Woodlands, they have. You want to stay Chencharu, Yishun there, also they have. You want to stay Bukit Merah, they have. You want to stay almost anywhere, they also have. Jurong also have.
so that is the government doing its best for the BTO. Okay, so another thing, EC prices went up again in 2025, and a lot of people are asking, is it still worth it to buy an EC?
Well, I mean, you also have to understand why the EC pricing is going up. So this price going up is also mainly due to cost pressure.
Cost pressure lah. But from what I see, actually land bids are actually very competitive, even for EC. And then many developer is bidding just because of the high demand.
Yeah, so I mean, every time we see the EC up for bid, right? Every time when you look at the news, when we look at the news for EC result, right? You see the for GLS private land, right? There's a certain number of developers, but for EC, the list always very long one.
And another thing is actually construction costs, right? Haven't came down since pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's significantly higher than pre-COVID and it's constantly rising.
Yes. So I mean, but here is also one of the keys, right? EC is still 22 to 23% cheaper than new private OCR launches, right? So the median for OCR today sits at about 2,002 per square feet, while EC sitting at about 1,007 PSF, right? So when you look at it, actually, when you really look at it, now that we are talking about this,
Suddenly feels cheap.
1,007 PSF, 2 years ago, 1,007 PSF is a different number.
Yeah. So that's why when we started this episode, we are saying that it's pushing new boundaries. And actually, functionally, they live like private condo.
Yeah.
You walk into any EC, right, the modern ECs today, right? You cannot tell is it normal condo or a EC.
Yeah, actually it's true. I know because I bought one. So for many HDB upgraders, right, the EC sometimes, last time we always say EC used to be the stepping stone to private market.
Yeah.
Today, right, actually the EC for some people, it's no longer the stepping stone. It's the final home already. I will buy the EC, I stay inside. In future, by the time I pass on, the EC will still hold certain value, and then you can pass on to the children.
Yeah, usually they are second timer purchase, and it takes a lot of it consists of a big portion of people buying EC.
Correct.
Yeah, and then EC, good thing is there is no ABSD. There's a deferred payment scheme actually. Okay, so you pay 20% and the stamp duty at booking, right? Then you wait until TOP, then you pay the balance. Okay, that's a deferred pay, and then you can sell the HDB after you take possession.
Wait, Alex, you say no ABSD. I mean, I can buy second one, man.
I mean, when you have a HDB, you buy the EC, the launch EC.
I buy second EC,
No, you buy the first EC lah. Yeah, you have to game the system.
No lah, I want to clarify what you say, ma. You say no ABSD, ma.
So when you buy a new EC, you don't have to pay ABSD if you are transitioning from a HDB.
Yeah, I mean, okay, let's clarify a little bit lah. So, what we mean by no ABSD is when today, if I own a HDB, right, if I want to go and buy EC under a deferred payment scheme, right, I still have, technically I still own my HDB, ma.
Yeah.
Then I buy a second property, I need to pay ABSD.
That's if it's private property.
Yeah, but I think it's for EC, the difference is because it is actually a HDB, ma.
Yes.
Right? So the thing is, I don't pay ABSD. I take on the deferred payment scheme. I don't pay ABSD because when I take keys for my EC, I need to dispose my flat.
You have to pledge to sell the HDB.
Correct. So it is. So that's why you don't have to pay ABSD. So this is clarification.
This is one of the very big thing that actually pushes people to buy EC.
Correct. So with this EC, this kind of flexibility, right? That's why a lot of people are, especially the HDB owners, they are all jumping to EC. And historically, ECs perform okay, I cannot say relatively, they actually perform very well after the MOP. They actually make quite good money, you know.
Yeah. And then it's just how it is. It's just the product itself that is a very special product.
Correct, lor. So it was designed in a way to help the sandwich middle class, right?
So that flexibility is actually...
Yeah, it's really, really good, lah.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, ABSD. Okay.
The dreaded 4 letters down there.
The 4 letter words.
4-letter word, vulgar 4-letter word.
So it's not a new topic, and based on the survey itself, it's on everybody's mind.
Yeah, so I mean, if we really take it into perspective, right? If you're buying a $1.8 to $1.9 million condo without selling first, you're paying about 370 over thousand in ABSD upfront.
Cash within 14 days.
Yeah, so the thing is, not say it's painful, right?
Yeah.
370 over thousand in cash.
So ERA's My Home survey showed many buyers, right? They want to upgrade, but they are stuck at this point.
Yeah, so the thing is, they actually want to buy, but then the thing is, wow, I need to buy, but I gotta fork out 370,000. So at the end of the day, right? So they actually, what they do, they have to sell first,
Yes.
right? So, Alan, the ABSD work, in fact.
Actually, yes, but it's not killing the demand like totally. Yeah, so it changes a bit of things.
So I mean, ABSD redirected the buyer's behavior.
Yeah.
Right. So as I said already, they now, instead of forking out 370,000 upfront, right, they go EC because EC don't need to pay ABSD.
Yeah.
And then they are also willing to wait longer, meaning they sell already, right? Then they go buy a BTO, they wait out the wait out period, then they go into a BTO.
Or they go resale, we wait the 15 months.
Yeah, correct. All right. Either that or they sell first, then they buy. Then in the meantime, during the transition period, they go and rent somewhere.
So now is with the BTO, people feel stuck when they're trying to upgrade. But on the other end, without ABSD, what would 2025 look like?
I think okay lah. Without ABSD, it will be good for me.
Can you imagine a world? Can you imagine a world without ABSD? What the prices will be like?
I mean, it was going to be very challenging for people who are not in the market or are trying to get into the market But the people who are inside the market, I mean, if you own 10 property, you very happy, Lord. You continue to buy more only, But I will feel for the majority of people who will be trying to get into the market.
So I think ABSD itself is a good tool to manage the core inflation in whole.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, Alan, how do we sum up? What is your perspective of 2025 moving forward?
So I feel 2025 is a controlled year, okay, controlled growth, okay, not speculation. So if you look at it, Singapore property market, right, residential market is affected by 3 main things: demand, supply, and the government policies. So if you look at the market without government policies, right, without government intervention, right, demand is always higher than the supply then. Okay, and the demand come from the grand scheme of things is driven by necessity. Okay, and the necessity comes in 2 forms. Okay, population times income. Okay, so our 6.9 million population target and our current medium income of 5,800, that is a very strong demand factor. Okay, and on the supply side, Singapore is a tiny red dot. There is only so much GLS. The market will need to find supply from other sources. That's why I see 2026 will be a very interesting year for en bloc market. Okay, developer need to find land from other sources. And on the other end, the government is doing a decent job at keeping the prices from running amok, right, using supply as a tool, okay, then there is only that much they can do with adjusting supply alone, right? Okay, and when the target of 6.9 million population hits, the government may introduce new measures, right, or new policy, right, to manage that thing. And finally, if we look at 2026, we also need to look further into the future, like 2030 onwards. So, because property is always a long game, you cannot just look at 1 year. You need to look for a longer term, right? So, buying 2026 means you can only sell when? 2030, right? Okay, 4 years. So everybody should equip themselves with the proper knowledge and the proper information when they're trying to build wealth in when they're trying to build wealth in property.
So, I mean, that's a very macro view, even down to en bloc supply for our real estate market in 2025 review to 2026 and beyond, up to 2030. Alan going towards like DBS already.
You have to look far. Yeah.
Okay, so for me, one of the biggest factor in shaping the real estate market in 2025 was the HDB BTO supply, right? The total of almost 30,000 flats across the whole island literally pour ice water on the resale HDB market, right? And it gave buyers so many choices which can suit their location and their price range. The introduction of plus, prime, and standard framework also allowed these buyers to secure great locations at attractive prices. Like Belaya, Alan, the Belaya 4-room flat, how much? 700 plus only, 800,000.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're looking at that, you are in the forefront of the Greater Southern Waterfront, all right? You know, your seaside view.
Great location, great price.
At great price.
Literally.
So this, for the resale HDB buyers, they just go, forget it, we just go to the new one, right? This BTO supply also push a lot of people and the upgraders to ECs, okay? So this drove ECs, in 2025, they drove the EC demand so high and it literally drove the prices through the roof. Like, you know, we discussed in previous videos, you know, the Tampines, or which one was it? The Auto Place. The Auto Place was in Tengah.
Yeah.
And Tampines one, the Orel.
Orel is Tampines.
At Tampines.
Yeah.
That one, wow, the pricing so high right? So, to me, this demand in 2025 would carry over in 2026. But I feel these buyers should be very cautious, right? If the EC prices continue to rise at this rate, they should at least open their eyes a little bit and look at the other options that they have.
Yeah, alternative.
Correct. Should they be considering a resale private property or a new private launch where the price gap can be much smaller and they can get better value for their purchase? So for example, if today if I buy Orel, 1,007, Auto Place 1,007 plus, 1,008 plus PSF, if I can find a private property, maybe location not so great, but it's 2,000, 2,001 PSF. There is, in 2026, we already announced, in literally one of our videos, 2026 has a condo launch like that.
The gap is very, very small.
It's a very, very tiny gap. However, these people will not need to wait for the EC to build, plus wait the MOP of 5 years.
Yeah,
that's a total of 8 years of time wasted.
At least 8 years.
Correct. Versus you just go buy a little bit more expensive, buy into the private property, and then in 4 years you exit, cash out, and go. Right? So this also leads on to my next major takeaway for 2025, which is for the great and stellar, amazing year the new private condos had. Right? This like, as we mentioned before, Penrith lah, Sky lah.
90 over percent, 90
Yeah,
over percent, 90 over percent.
Wow, close eye like that sell almost 3,000 PSF. So this strong demand for buyers for new private homes will also likely carry over to 2026. Why? These people are, where are they coming from? They are actually from the EC upgrading out. Because these people made a lot of money. So the HDB moving to EC moving to private, right? But these buyers should also be cautious, right? As they sometimes they overlook pockets of opportunity in the existing supply of new homes, where the waits can be shorter and priced lower than newly launched developments. So, for example, if we were to look at, we were talking about Lorong Chuan.
Long Chuan,
Yeah.
it's going to be 3,000, almost 3,000.
Almost 3,000 PSF. Today, if people are waiting for that, should you be actually looking at the existing supply? Can you get 2,000 plus?
There is a lot of balanced supply in the market actually. I feel that buyers are actually looking for the next shiny things.
Yeah, so
sometimes.
a lot. So I find sometimes Singaporeans are always, they have this thing called FOMO, very strong FOMO. If a lot of people buy, means I'm not wrong. However, if everybody emotionally overpriced, will you want to be emotionally overpriced like them?
One of the big factors.
Yeah.
So that's a very, very good summary for the year of 2025 and looking forward to 2026. Okay, and that's all for our New Year edition Property Wealth Pod.
So again, if you found this video to be useful, remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And then from us here at Property Wealth Pod, we wish you a very, very happy new year.
Happy New Year.
And we'll see you in the next episode.
See you.
See you.